There you go. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
This topic is so topical here in Mammoth Lakes, but those bears that are living in the urban areas, they just seem cuter and different for some odd reason.
Yeah, actually, that's what it's all about, right? Because you hear about coexistence, we hear about it all the time, but I'm here to tell you that that's not good enough anymore. We need to do better. We need to learn about the individual animals that live alongside us. So Maddie, the reason that she's the director of the film is because she was the one that was showing up, and she was the one that's figured out how to live on the edge of this urban interface. And she lost Cubby, but this year she does have 2 new cubs.
Oh.
So you can follow her story on Paul Bear Life.
On what?
Paul Bear Life on Instagram.
Okay, great.
I forget how emotional this. Usually the Q&As are at the end, so I get another 20 minutes to get myself together. So it just takes me a second after watching it again.
No, it's great that it. I guess because you've been sitting with this footage. Do you live near there that you get to see them?
No, so I found Brian and Rick on Instagram, and there was a few people that we found on Instagram. You hear from Gail as well. But it was Maddie's story that just kept coming through. And so when we were going to shoot the film that I thought we were going to make, and the film that Maddie, she directed, because every choice in the film was based on her. So the cameras are static, and the way that she chose to come in and out of shot, and the way that she doesn't understand what a camera is per se, but she understands that there's something there and the environment has changed, whereas unlike other animals like wolves, for example, that are neophobic, bears are super curious. And we spend all this time trying to think about, oh no, the bears should know, the bears need to do this and do that. No, what do you need to do? What do you need to do around your home? It's like the Gail, you hear from her in the film, she lives up in the canyons, a completely different setup to Brian and Rick. And her walls, her house, everything is really thin, single pane glass. If the bears come up to her front door and they lean on her door, they're going to pop the door or the window out of its hinges. So she has a very strict rule. No bears are allowed on the porch. So the bears come through her property, they use the water because water's a resource that we've taken away from them. And when the cubs come up on the porch, she goes out there with her broom, she bangs on that broom and yells at the bears, and Mum will come along and scoop up her cubs. And the deal is we're allowed to pass through the property, but we're not allowed on the porch. So bears are really smart, like Brian and Rick. I just want an easier life. We just take our trash down to the dumpsters at work. We don't need to go through the whole trash thing. Like, Maddie has got to the point now where when they were renovating the house, the workmen were leaving their sandwiches out, leaving coolers out. And of course, what does Maddie do? She finds the stuff. And it took them about 2 months to stop leaving things out for Maddie she doesn't even check. She checked the trash here, but they just had a party and the trash can just smelled of trash. But it takes a couple of months and then she doesn't even bother. She can just go through, and they used to have gates up, but they just took them down because you got a 600-pound bear on your gate, it's just going to bust anyway, so they don't have the gates up. And they've got 2 doors. They don't need to use the front door, they use the back door. So there's all these things you can do in your human behaviours, and that's what I call co-thriving, because that's when you recognise that individuals, they can tell you if it's Maddie Bear or Punky Bear just on the way that they saunter up the drive. Yeah. And then they know, okay, well, if it's Punky Bear, Punky Bear needs a lot more space. Punky Bear is a bit of a punk. Punky Bear's on Paul Bear Life is the one that pops all of the floaties. So that's Punky's job, is just to pop and destroy things in the pool. But if you have dogs and you have kids, then you're going to have a different setup around your pool. It's all about learning the individuals that you live alongside. And ultimately what you want to strive for is a community of large carnivores that know how to live alongside you. I've seen it work with wolves, with bears, with mountain lions. My day job is with wolves, and we can live, ranchers are living successfully alongside wolves. I've got a rancher living alongside 5 wolf packs. And it's because we're co-thriving. We're understanding the culture of the cows and the wolves. So it's all about culture. Sorry, I can talk about this stuff. Now I'll stop crying. Get off trouble shutting me up.
Let's see if we have anybody in the audience that wants to chime in. We have actually, I wish Steve Searles was here because he's our bear whisperer. I don't know if you've heard of him. And we have the same exact problem here where it's a little bit different here, I feel like, because this is, we're more in their backyard.
Yeah.
But so there's organizations that kind of have started for the conservation of them and the protection of them.
Yeah, and it's different depending on where you live, right? So where Brian and Rick are, the last house on the hill before the National Forest, whereas in Colorado, what Brenda, she's in the film, what they do is they realise that the bears are following the water all the way down to town. They can't get to the water because it's in concrete until they get to town. So what they did is they diverted the water up the top of the hill and they replanted all the fruit trees back up away from town so the bears don't come down. And then if you've got your house and bears are deciding to go into torpor or denning up in the winter, you need to be checking that you've sealed up underneath your house, because if you've got a bear under your house that's going to have cubs underneath your house, then nobody wants you messing with their kids. And if I swipe you, that's going to hurt. If one of the bears swipe you, you're really going to know about it. So we're all doing the same thing. It's not about, bears aren't tiny little humans, but they have the same wants, needs and desires, and they have rich emotional lives.
So is there enough food for them that with planting all the trees and the fruit trees and stuff, is there enough food to sustain them staying in that area?
Yeah, so these bears, where they are, they have enough resources up there. And the film is all about the choices that Maddie makes. So I don't know I've got an idea where she dens up, but I'm not going off to traipse around and going in her den. And I deliberately didn't interview anybody from the parks service either, because it's the people that are living alongside the bears that know the bears. They're just going to give you a list of all the things to do. But if you're not emotionally invested in creating a world where you and your wild neighbours can thrive alongside each other, it doesn't matter what I tell you. But putting cameras up, you can have a relationship with the animals around your home through a lens. You haven't got to be up in their business.
It's always good to kind of keep them wild.
Yeah, exactly. A fed bear is a dead bear, right? That's human responsibility.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you for making the most adorable footage of this amazing bear, and we're so glad that Maddie's still with us, and now that she has 2 new cubs.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, Poor Bear Life. You can follow along. She's doing well. You can learn a lot about being a mum from a bear. Have you seen how she is able to teach her cubs? It's like, oh no, she's figuring it out.
Mama.
Yeah, she's a good mum. So it's humans that messed it up for her last time.
It's always
humans, sorry, people.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much.